I would like to mention that I'm really feeling disappointed that we have been speaking about story for 13 years, and this story started 13 years ago, and we have been speaking about it in many different events, like in UN events like UPR. We speaking about it in COP28, inside event like this, but nothing has been changed. We have spoken to many politicians around the world, NGOs, but nothing has been changed positively. In fact, the situation has gotten worse, not gotten better. So, I mean, as you mentioned just minutes ago, these prisoners of conscience were supposed to be released almost more than 3 years ago. But instead of releasing them, the UAE government decided to sentence them one more time, but this time for 25 years ago. So we expect that these prisoners of conscience to be released in 25 years from now. I mean, they have been already in jail for 13 years, and they will be, they will serve more than 20 years in the prison. When we see these events, we imagine, or we can imagine, that the UAE government has a political decision that these people will not be released at all until, God forbid, until they die. They will keep them in prison until they die, and they will not release them, because this is what we have been seeing for a long period of time. Regardless, the effort that has been done to make awareness, to shed light on this situation, to shed light on the prisoners of conscience, the UAE government is not releasing them. Why, as you just asked, why these prisoners of conscience have been in jail for this long time? I believe that the beliefs of these prisoners of conscience is in contradict with the UAE government agenda. The UAE government agenda is, contradicting human rights around the world. They have been involved in war of Sudan. They have been involved in war in Yemen. They have been involved in, they supporting Israel in a way or other. They are supporting the Egyptian regime. So the UAE government decided to silence people inside the UAE by punishing these kind of people. So people cannot say no to the UAE government, so the UAE can proceed with their agenda. To be honest with you, when I go back and think about these prisoners of conscience, I feel like these prisoners of conscience, we need them to be released, not because they have the right to be released, but also because we need them. We need, as a UAE society, as a people in the region, maybe even in the world, we need these people to be released, because they will have a very positive role in the UAE, in the region. I can imagine, to be honest with you, I can imagine to see Ahmed Mansour going to Gaza with the activists just last night, calling for the release, calling for the break of the siege against Gaza. I can imagine Ahmed Mansour calling for the genocide that's going on inside Gaza to be stopped. I can imagine Mohammed Rukn protesting against the war in Sudan. I can imagine Mohammed Al Mansouri protesting the war, against the war in Yemen. So these people inside the prison, we need them to be released, not because, as I mentioned, not because we feel like they have the right to be released, their family have the right to have their family back at home, but also for the region, for our societies, and to have maybe a safer, better society and communities around the world. And you know what, when I think also about the situation, these people has been in the prison for almost now 13 years. The situation in the prison is very, very bad. I think everyone already know how bad the situation is inside the UAE prisons, and about any, we know the regimes in the Middle East. But when I think about it, I think, okay, why we do not have a positive result? Why these people are still in the prison, even though of the effort that has been done around the world? I think because we do not have an effective tools. The government of UAE is being rewarded not being punished. They got, they have been elected to be a UN Human Rights Council. Can you imagine? They have been rewarded with COP28. They have been rewarded of hosting a lot of events inside the UAE. Nevertheless, that the situation of human rights is very, none between the societies and between the governments. I believe this situation happening because we as human rights community, we as UN rapporteurs and working groups, we do not have an effective tools. And I think we need to discuss this very deeply. Why we do not have an effective tools? Having a report, publishing a report is not an effective tools. Speaking about this between governments, with a politician, with human rights NGOs is not an effective tools anymore, because the UAE has a lot of money and they whitewash their violations with their money. So I imagine that we need to have, like, as human rights communities, we need to discuss this very deeply. We need to have a tools that being effective. Not only, we do not need only to spend efforts. We need to have a tools that have an effective role, that have a positive role. For example, like when I can imagine if the UN rapporteurs, the working groups has a veto right, I think we will have a better result. For example, if UAE government has been elected for UN Human Rights Council member, being a member in Human Rights Council, any rapporteurs can come and he can say, no, I veto this because I have concerns about my mandate. So I need to address these concerns before I remove the veto. So if these kind of vetoes has been awarded to these rapporteurs, to the working groups, I think we will have a better result, not only for the UAE, but also like for the human rights situation in general. I think I will stop here. Maybe if there is a certain questions, I can just answer it, James. Thank you.